have you seen this White House card? The secret Dana White was gatekeeping from us eventually revealed, but that is none of us was expecting to see. Which fighter pulled out of the Freedom card and what result should we expect from main event and from the whole card overall? Let's break it down. So, first of all, how did it feel to sit and wait the announcement? Bro, the way Dana was feeding fans with huge eloquent Instagram and Twitter posts, kind of something special just came across my desk. It is perhaps the best UFC card I've been creating with my crew, but suddenly something went wrong.
What do you got? It says tell one name. I'll tell you guys something about the White House fight. So we've been working on this thing nonstop, and one of the fights literally just fell out when I walked in here. I don't see. I think Hunter killed himself. I don't know. One of the fights fell off tonight. Brutal.
Literally, it was one day before UFC 326 where we should receive revealing, and at the end we got Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje for lightweight title. To be honest, it's still pretty good main event, but it kind of does not evoke impression. Bro, Dana White literally got beaten up for this bad matchmaking. Nah, it's just a joke. But anyway, community's expectations mostly were concentrated on the fight between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. They were literally glazing this matchup. One man from Twitter even did trailer for their fight. But Islam himself said that Ilia already had opponent and UFC isn't interested in their fight.
Ну, еще у нас обсуждается примерная дата моего боя. Если даже не будет в Белом доме, то это около этой даты. И не исключаю вариант Белого дома. Ну, еще у нас обсуждается примерная дата моего боя. Если даже не будет в Белом доме, то это около этой даты. И не исключаю вариант Белого дома. Ну, на сегодняшний день это самый вероятный вариант.
Корректно ли говоришь, что боя с Топурией уже в Белом доме точно не будет? То есть это на какое-то будущее, дальнейшее?
Да, думаю, в Белом доме точно не будет, потому что у него уже есть соперники, и UFC в этом бою пока не заинтересован.
And it is confused situation. From one side, we don't know entire UFC's matchmaking lowdown, and from another, there were too many rumors about Jon Jones and Conor McGregor's negotiations for adding them to White House card. But what we all know is that Dana does not have desire to work with fighters with undermined reputation. But from another hand, we have infinite media crossfire, where you ask yourself, who am I supposed to believe, motherfucker?
There is speculation, of course, that it's Jon Jones.
No, it's not.
Was Jon
Never, ever, which I told you guys 100,000 times, was Jon Jones even remotely in my mind to fight at the White House. First of all, I've told you why I wouldn't do it. And number two, some guy with, meta glasses on filmed him talking about his hips, that his hips are so bad. And I don't know if you guys saw that flag football game where he can barely run. Jon Jones he retired because of his hips. He's got arthritis in his hips. And what was even crazier is Jon Jones came out and was like, I'm in negotiations right now for the White House fight, after I had already sent a text to his lawyer saying, never going to happen ever.
Is it fair to say then Jon Jones is retired and this is the end of his time?
Yes. Okay.
And then Jon Jones finally responded to Dana White's comments about the White House card. He and his team said they were actually negotiating with the UFC, and he even lowered his price, but the offer he received was too low. Jones also admitted he has hip arthritis, but said it doesn't stop him from fighting, and that he was even preparing for the UFC after getting stem cell treatment. He criticized Dana for saying he is done and claimed the UFC was still trying to book him for the card recently. Jones said if the UFC truly believes he is finished, they should release him from his contract. Wow, so this situation is pretty overwhelming. And I only can suggest that the fighter who pulled out of the White House card was Jon Jones due to the overflooded amount of information about his fight with Alex Pereira and based on the information presented earlier. Alright, now let's talk about the White House card. Some of these fights look very promising. So the first fight in this card will be Diego Lopes versus Steve Garcia. Diego comes back after a second lose to Alexander Volkanovski. Stylistically, Lopes has an advantage over Garcia because of extended BJJ base, and Diego has a black belt. Both of them have impressive KO wins counter, but in terms of ground game, Steve has 0 wins by submission throughout his career, unlike Diego. So I think Lopes will implement his grappling advantage and finish Steve with TKO on the ground or submit him. Second fight will be Bo Nickal versus Kyle Daukaus. And you know, no matter what people say about Bo Nickal needing a better opponent, I actually think this fight is interesting because Kyle Daukaus is on fire. He has 12 wins by submission and 0 losses by submission. And additionally, he has BJJ black belt. And regarding on ground game, it is ambiguous. Bo Nickal, well known as a severely awesome freestyle wrestler, and he does implement his wrestling abilities. But in MMA, he has only 1 win by decision. He does not fight like a lay and pray fighter. He training and still adjusting his style to MMA. Daukaus is more experienced in fights. For me, this matchup considered as 50-50, but stylistically, I am leaning toward Kyle Daukaus win. Third fight is Mauricio Rufy versus Michael Chandler. I don't know, to me this fight is pretty straightforward. Michael Chandler is coming off several losses in a row, while Mauricio Rufy is coming off a win over Rafael Fiziev. In terms of freshness, Rufy looks like the more dangerous fighter. As a striker, he is sharper and more precise. So in this matchup, I'm picking Mauricio Rufy definitely. Fourth fight of the card is Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Aimé Zahabi. When it comes to this fight, I can say that even though Aimé Zahabi is on 7-fight winning streak, I still think Sean O'Malley is much better striker. Why? Because Zahabi has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background and he is a black belt, but he doesn't really use his offensive wrestling or active grappling as a foundation of his fights. His style is mostly striking, and in terms of striking, I believe Sean is capable of outstriking him on the feet or even knocking him out. So overall, I'm leaning towards Sean O'Malley. Fifth fight is a banger KO main event, Alex Poatan Pereira versus Ciryl Gane. As for this fight, Pereira needs to be careful and I don't know, maybe put on some swimming glasses before entering the cage. Bro, literally, I hope Ciryl made adjustments to not poke opponent's eyes. It was very an unpleasant situation when he poked Aspinall's eyes and they got no contest, bro. What about Pereira? He left light heavyweight division to try his luck in heavyweight, and I think it will be good striking trade. The card will be on the 14th of June and it will be enough time for Pereira to grow some weight. What about fight? I want to say that stylistically Gane looks much more relevant. He's also kickboxer as a Pereira, and he is the best kickboxer in the heavyweight division right now. I also want to realize Pereira's debut in heavyweight, and I really reckon him as one of the best, if not the best, strikers in the UFC right now. But in MMA, Gane has never been to knockout, unlike Pereira, and this fight considered as close, but Ciryl looks more used to heavyweight division, and in his last fight he fought well against Tom Aspinall until he made the crap. I severely want to watch this fight, but for me Ciryl looks more capable to win. But anyways, Shama forever, I'll cheer for Poatan. He has to get fucking revenge for Big Tommy. And eventually the main event, Ilia El Matador Topuria versus Justin the Highlight Gaethje. And you know, I would honestly like to break this fight down in more details, but I think you and I understand the situation here. Justin Gaethje is currently behind Ilia Topuria in almost every aspect of MMA. Gaethje is older, he has taken a lot more damage in his career, and even in terms of durability, I think Topuria has an edge right now. Yes, Gaethje often says he has been the underdog in many fights and still managed to win, but it feels different even if he has a chance in this matchup is a very small one. This just doesn't look like the right moment for him to become champion, especially when he's facing arguably the most well-rounded fighter right now, someone who is excellent in striking, very solid in grappling, and even his wrestling is at higher level. Topuria even knocked out Max Holloway, one of the best boxers in the division, who previously beat Dustin Poirier in Gaethje himself. For me, this fight likely ends with a knockout from Topuria, if not in the first round, then in the second. The only realistic thing Gaethje might try is landing a high kick because of his reach and height advantage, but even that seems unlikely. So guys, that's how I see perspectives over this card and situation at all this bustle. UFC freedom is the most American thing I've ever heard. Share your opinion about fights in this card down in the comments. Props to you if you watched until this moment. God bless you all. Stay safe. Subscribe to my channel. And bye.